it's the holidays, and this time of the year, it's a great time for people, but also it's a lonely time for people. Especially those that might not have family, especially those that are going through things, might have lost a loved one, etc. I just want to tell you to like just live in appreciation this holidays. Like, don't get caught up with social media. Like, there's so many people in the world that literally go into debt trying to show love to trying to prove their love to somebody else. And these days, it's not even that. It's like you will see so many competitions of people taking the pictures of their gifts underneath the Christmas tree. And nothing wrong with that, by the way. I want to be clear. But just make sure you're doing that for the right reason. Like, you'll see like a whole like comparison thing on Instagram. It's going to start. Look what I got my kid and this and that. And you can be proud of the gifts that you bought your kid. But one thing that I'm doing, and you don't have to do it, I'm just sharing what I'm doing this Christmas with my family, is that we're not going to focus on getting, we're going to focus on giving. And, we're going to focus on creating experiences with each other, just to be real with you. Because at the end of the day, I don't know if you got kids like me, like they'll forget in like 2 months. Like, I bought Tristan the skateboard. He rode it 10 times. And I'm like, man. And so this year, actually started last year, we just started creating experiences with each other, connecting more as a family and just being thankful and grateful. And to the people out there too, like that are going through things with their family, reach out. Life is too short, man. And I know this might not be a message everybody wants to hear, but I know there's people out there that are going through things with their family members, like your blood, and it's disagreements. Maybe it's a big thing, maybe it's a small thing, but don't let the small things keep you away from loving each other and connecting with each other. Excuse me. Life is short. Just because you're here this year, or just because they're here this year, is no guarantee that they'll be here next Christmas. Prayerfully they will, but there's so many people, man. Like 55 million people die every year, and that's something I always told you guys. Like 150,000 people die every day, and I think one of the worst things is like allowing a petty misunderstanding to keep families separate. So give forgiveness. If you're watching this, be the bigger person and give that forgiveness, because always remember, forgiveness is for you. It's not for that other person. It is for you. And focus on love, man, this holidays. Like, don't go into 2019 holding a grudge against someone you love. And I know that's easier said than done, trust me. I feel you. Some of you like Trent, you don't know what we going through. But when you step back and at the end of life, that's how I always think about things. Like, man, like, what if something happened tomorrow? Like, would I be good with my relationship with this person? Would I regret not saying I'm sorry? Would I regret not picking up the phone and ending a simple misunderstanding? And so I think that's the greatest gift that you can give someone. For you guys that have grudges against someone, for people who've done you wrong, I get it. It takes two people to make a situation right. But don't hold the hate in your heart. Don't hold nothing against them, because at the end of the day, that weighs you down. That weighs you down. And forgiveness, people always say, like, why should I forgive? Well, for one, God forgives you. For two, you've been forgiven by other people. And for three, if you don't forgive, it's like carrying a big weight around. Like, you wouldn't walk around carrying big weights, right? You would look crazy. But some of us, when we don't forgive, it's like carrying around a big emotional weight, and it's draining us, and I'm not saying it can simply be fixed, but try to. Do your part. That's all you can do, right? You're in control of two things: what you give and what you accept. You can't make nobody accept anything, but it tears my heart apart to see families like not communicating with each other because of personal reasons. Selfishness will never create togetherness at all. And then I'm just speaking from the heart tonight. Like I said, I really had no point of coming on here just to tell you guys this message. But then too, like this year, really focus on giving back. I want to challenge everybody watching this. Focus on giving back. And I know so many of you do, but focus on giving something to someone that could never give you something back in return. I challenge everybody watching this to do this. So it could be a stranger, it could be a person on the streets, it could be somebody in your family, but give something to somebody that could never repay you, right? Because you don't even expect it. So many times we give expecting things, and I don't feel like that's genuine giving if you're expecting something in return. So maybe it's not a family member. Find a stranger, somebody who can't do nothing for you, period. right? They can't do nothing for you. They don't even know you. And go give something to them. And it doesn't have to be material things, right? It could be a meal. It could be a prayer. It could be a conversation. It could be, socks. It could be clothes, whatever it may be. Just in this season that most people focus on getting, let's switch it around and let's focus on giving. And one of the best things I feel like people can do that have families this holidays and every holiday after this is give experiences. Give experience, because those are the things that never fade. Memories never fade. Material things, they fade. There'll be a better toy next year. There'll be a better toy the year after that. They will stop playing with those toys and just try to give experiences. Not telling you don't give your kids gifts. I'm not saying that at all, because I know as a kid, that was a cool thing, open up presents and stuff like that. But just make sure it's more than that. And please don't fall in the trap of having to prove that you're giving love, quote unquote, to someone through social media, right? Don't fall into that trap. I see it all the time. People literally go into debt trying to get likes on social media, right? Trying to say, oh, I got my kid all these things, and I got my husband this, and I got my wife this, and all of that. Like, if you're doing it for that, what's the point? What's the point? And some of y'all gonna show y'all some people this and be like, look, Trent said we don't have to give gifts this year. And that's why I'm not giving you gifts, so blame him. And I'm not saying it at all. But the gift of love is the best gift you ever could give somebody. So I just wanted to come on here and just chop it up with you guys, take some Q&A. I didn't have no like super intense message, but I just wanted to get that off my heart. And I'm gonna do a video about it pretty soon, so you guys will see it. You're gonna tell your kids it was my idea. Your kids are gonna hate me. Your kids are gonna hate me. I don't know how you spell your name or say your name. I think it's Lakila. How many times must you try when it's not being received? I guess you're basically talking about when I was talking about maybe family or something like that, trying to rekindle something. Even if it's once or twice, at least you tried. Some of you have done that, but at least you tried. At least it's off of at least you're not holding the weight anymore. You can say, I tried to rekindle this relationship. I tried to rekindle this friendship, and I always say, man, and it takes letting down your pride, is you always have to first look at yourself and say, what did I contribute to this? And maybe you contributed a lack of understanding, right? Maybe it was that. Maybe you didn't contribute anything to it. But I think as people, in order to build stronger connections and to rekindle certain things, we can't look at what I need from that person. Okay, we can't say, I need you to do this for me. Because as long as you're focused on your needs, right, you're self-centered in that moment. And I promise you, self-centeredness will never create togetherness. Because guess what? When you become self-centered, they become self-centered. And that's how the argument starts. But if you say, you know what do you need? Right? How can I fulfill your needs? Right? How can I make this better? What can I do for you to make this better? And I promise you, well, I'm not going to promise you because I don't know who you're dealing with, but I can pretty much promise you, when you do that for a person, it puts them in a better place and they want to give that back. Right? And trust me, there's certain circumstances where that doesn't work at all. Like, I don't know who you're dealing with, but I'm just trying to give some advice on how you can rekindle certain friendships and relationships with family members. You have to go in there with no self-centeredness at all. You got to say, okay, what could I do for you to fulfill your needs? And that's a great way in relationships also. If you have relationship problems, that's one of the best ways to help your relationship grow. Because most people in relationships, when we have relationship problems, you have two people who really want the relationship. It's because two people become selfish. Two people become focused on what they need, right? Instead of focusing on what they can give to the other person. And I promise you, in a relationship, if you're focused on what could I give this person, and you become infatuated with that, they're going to do that in return. I promise you. But as long as you're like, well, you ain't giving me that, and you're all about yourself, then guess what happens? They become all about themselves, and it creates separation. And where separation is formed, you know what fills that gap? Assumptions, judgments, fights, all these things. And you can never bridge that gap back together. So, and you don't have to always say you're sorry. I don't believe in saying I'm sorry. And I don't know if I just said that, but that's the one thing that I'm trying to get out of, is saying I'm sorry. I just don't like those words. I think the best apology is change behavior, but it's saying, hey, what are your needs? What do I need to fix this? Like, what do you need from me? What are your needs? And that's all you got to do. And you fulfill those needs, and hopefully they'll fulfill your needs right back. And that's what it's about. Anything, you can't build a team with self-centeredness. It doesn't work. I mean, I played sports my whole entire life. I'll tell you that when somebody becomes selfish, it tears apart the team. And it's the same thing in relationships. And I want to be clear that if you're in a relationship where you're fulfilling someone's needs and they're still, it doesn't matter, and that for a fact, and they're not going to change no matter how many needs you fulfill, that's a whole different story. But this is for the people who, might be struggling in their relationship, or, that's an intimate relationship, or that maybe that's a relationship of friendship, or, a relationship with your family. Just focus on that. Try it. Always try to understand why someone acts the way they do. And for the most part, it's because they're hurt. It's because they've been through pain. I can guarantee probably your parents weren't treated, something happened in your parents' life that made your parent like that. So I try to understand that, and I do my part. I'm not telling you to keep yourself in the situation. You've heard plenty of videos where I talk about that, but you don't want to hold that grudge, right? If it's something on your heart telling you, you know what, let me try to fix this, right? Let me try to understand. Let me listen, or ask certain questions. What happened in your life? Or, when you show that you care, you see a whole different side of a person. I mean, with people I coach all the time, talk to all the time, I see it all the time. You see a whole different side of a person. And that doesn't mean that, that person's going to change or that person's going to open up, but at least you can say, you know what, I made an effort, if it's on your heart to do that. And you have to apply it to your situation. Like I said, everybody's situation is different. This is not like I don't know everybody's personal situation. So it's like, I don't know exactly what you're going through. So what I might be saying might be very invalid to your situation. But I'm just speaking in general. And one thing that helped me gain leverage with giving forgiveness. And there's people that I need to have conversations with to this day. There's people I need to have conversations with. So as I'm talking to you, I'm talking to myself also. But one thing that's always helped me have that hard conversation or say, you know what, I have to give this forgiveness is like, I think about it. Like, do I want to live the rest of my life like holding on to this grudge? Like, grudges are heavy. Like, grudges will weigh you down more than anything else. So it's like life is already a mountain. It is. It's like climbing uphill. And when I climb up a mountain, I want to be light. I don't want to take unnecessary weight. And so I try my best to put down my pride and realize that and have those conversations. I mean, those conversations don't always go perfect, but I feel like when you know how to communicate with somebody and know how to connect with somebody and make somebody feel understood, you can get an understanding. It's not an argument, it's not a fight, but you have to be in a good place yourself. If you're in pain yourself, it's hard to heal pain when both people have pain that they're communicating with, right? You're communicating in pain. It won't bring healing. You got to communicate in peace. You have to communicate in understanding to be able to get an understanding. And that's a hard process. It's not easy. Just remember tonight, if you don't remember anything else, self-centeredness will never create togetherness. And it's true. And you can apply that to any facet of life. Selfishness will never create togetherness. That's just facts. And the key to communication, some of you heard me talk about it before, is ARC communication. It's something that I teach all the time. The A is for, and what I mean by that, you just don't go into a conversation angry, right? You'll never get to an understanding going into a conversation angry. I'm not gonna say never, but it's hard to get to an understanding going into a conversation angry and with pain. So if you have somebody that it's hard to talk to, this is a process that I use all the time. My wife even knows the process. She calls me out on it all the time. She's like, Trent, I know what you're doing, but it's a beautiful process. It helps you and it helps the other person. So ARC communication, ARC, A-R-C. The A stands for appreciation. So before you go talk to somebody, right, make sure you think about this. When you go to them It has to be real and authentic. And tell them how much you appreciate them. I know that might be hard. Some of y'all like what? Go to them and tell them how much you appreciate them, because if it's somebody that's having this amount of effect on your life, you appreciate them. Whether you know it or not, you appreciate them. At some point in your life you did, right? And then the R, after you show them appreciation, the R stands for reassurance. Just let them know, listen, I want to make this thing work. You know, I know you want to make it work. We let some small misunderstandings get between us. You know, it's bigger than that. Like, life is short. You know, I don't want to get to the end of life and regret, you know? So I want to just reassure you that, like, I love you. Like, for real, no matter what's happened between us, I love you. And that's why I'm having this hard conversation, right? Reassure them that you're on their side. And then C stands for concern or conversation, whatever you want to put there. And that's when you have your conversation, or that's when, you know, you place your concern. But remember, make it about them, not about you. So I wouldn't even say concern in this situation. I would just say conversation. And remember, you start your conversation by asking them, you know what do you need? You know, what do you need? And how can I fulfill that need for you to make this better? So it's hard to do. I'm not always perfect with it, but it's something that's necessary for your peace and for your life, man. Like, life sucks when you're holding on to grudges and stuff, man. It bothers you, even in your subconscious mind. And so, you know, a lot of people say, Trent, you know, a lot of your videos are about this or that. And so here's a live that it's about, you know, rekindling something. So you guys have it. And so you ever hear somebody say something about moving on or whatever like that, you can say, hey, Trent has a live that he talked about that. And I have other videos that talk about forgiveness. People just don't, I guess, share those or how to make your relationship stronger. People don't share those neither. So there's just some tips, man. And I hope it helps you guys. And just remember, this holidays, create experiences, create memories, create moments that create precious moments that turn into incredible memories. And don't get caught up. Don't feel like you're less because you don't have what other people have. Like, you're going to see it. Everybody's going to be posting their gifts under the tree and this or that. And it's cool. Nothing wrong with that. You know, you worked hard to provide for your kids. Great. But don't let that make you feel like you're less. Okay? Because life is not about material things. Because last time I checked, you can't take none of those things with you. Right? So what really matters in life? What really matters in life is precious moments turn into incredible memories. Make sure you give your family, your kids, your loved ones an incredible experience this holidays, and make sure you focus less on getting and more in giving. And remember the challenge. Go give to someone who cannot do anything for you, because that's true giving. All right? Like I said at the end of every single video, it all starts with you, and I appreciate it. Let's get it. It all starts with you. All right? Peace.